Hello, my beautiful Voidian Children, and welcome back to our life. Last time we went to town, and we are still in town, and we are munching on our little pretzels. Oh, shoot. No, whatever. You bit down on the doughy treat, savoring the taste of your tongue with a smile, and you looked over at the ocean. After a time you finished your pretzel, you were done before Cove. It was boring not to have anything to do. You pulled on the string of your balloon, bringing it down to your level, and then held the dolphin in your hands, manipulating it to make it look like it was jumping in the air. If you turned a face towards the beach, it almost looked like it was swimming in the waves like a real dolphin. A laugh came from your side. Oh shit. When you glanced back at Cove, he had left the remaining part of his pretzel on the wrapper, and he was gripping the dolphin too. Mine's name is Merryweather. He's the prince of dolphins. Mine's name is Splash, the star of boobies. Mine's name is Cherry. She's actually an alien. Mine's name is Sam. They're just a regular dolphin. I'm gonna do the alien. When no one is looking, she transforms back to her true alien self. She has purple skin and 10 eyes. You sighed, wishing you could meet a real-life alien. What's yours? Cove considered this question, placing the balloon against the table and resting a free arm across the contemplation. It's... With a loud pop, the dolphin exploded into ribbons. Oh my god, I forgot this happened. Oh no. For a second, all Cove was doing gasped in shock like you. Then his cheeks puffed up, squinting his eyes, and you saw his tears start to glisten. Why in it? You made a joke. You offered to find Alexander. You offered to give Cove your balloon. You didn't say anything. You would be all right. You looked at Cove, then up at your balloon, bobbing gently in the air above you. You can have mine. That was better than letting him cry more. Cove sniffled, glancing up at the balloon, then back at you. No, it's yours. I don't want to take it from you. It's okay, really. Cove shook his head, even though it wasn't your fault. You felt bad. Still, the offer seemed to lift Cove's spirits, and that was good. The passing of Cove's balloon was the last major event of your adventure. In the end, you two headed back late that afternoon. You separated on the beach while Cove went straight home to his brand new sand pail in hand. You decided to sit for a while. You watched the waves and the sunset, fiddling with your new keychain. Another summer day was drawing to a close. It was a good day, except for the sad final note. One sweltering summer day, you were in the living room with Cove, listening to the sounds of the birds chattering outside the window while you laid across the rug on the floor. Cove's dad had dropped him off earlier, and your moms had left the two of you alone with Lizzie to play amongst yourselves. It had been too hot to go outside in the living room, at least according to Mommy, so your sister was starting to get impatient, waiting for her golf class that evening. The three of you had trouble finding something fun to do. The beach and the playground were off limits, and you felt that it was too warm for anything like playing with your fuzzy toy animals. Then suddenly a light came to Lizzie's brain, brown eyes, and her smile spread wide across her face. Having an idea gave her a new wave of energy. Since we're stuck inside, we should be adults. They don't play outdoors anyways. They're always inside and tell everyone they're too busy to play. Why? I said why, and it'll be fun, duh. Then why did they do it? Then what do they do inside that we don't, besides use the phone a lot? Excluding a small huff, Lizzie decided to ignore Cove. Ryan, what do you think? Do you want to? Cove said it. That doesn't sound fun. I bet we could come up with something else. I don't know. Please, Ryan. When have I ever had a bad idea? Whenever we play with you? Oh my god. I wasn't asking you. I'll try it, but that does sound boring. Okay, I'll say. Sorry, I have other stuff to do. You kept hesitating. I hope this is fun as you're promising it'll be. Lizzie looked at you, deadly serious. It's the most exciting idea I've had all week. Satisfied that neither of you were about to bail on her, Lizzie thought over her options while you watched. After a few seconds, she clapped her hands together and beamed, apparently having settled on something without asking either of you. Okay, I'm going to be a professional golfer. Wyan, you and Cove can be a beach volleyball player, a gymnast, or a tennis player. Why can't we pick anything we want? Because I have a fun idea, that's why. And we have to play sports as adults. Yep. But there's other kinds of sports too. This isn't the same. What do you think, Wyan? Don't those choices sound super cool? You want to be that, huh? I kind of like those. It really doesn't. Haha, it sounds like a blast. Isn't there anything else to do? Just gonna simply nod. Lizzie, apparently not expecting you to agree with Cove's after Cove's refusal, practically lit up. Really? Which one are you gonna pick, Wyan? Cove was not impressed with Lizzie's attitude, though he didn't bother talking about it for now. He thought over the list of possibilities: beach volleyball, gymnastics, or tennis. Out of all of them, you'd prefer to play volleyball. If you couldn't stand the afternoon all day at the beach for real, that might as well pretend you were there. You can even wear your swimsuit to make it more realistic, although Lizzie probably wouldn't let you run off to do that. She had you here. Yes, that was clearly the top option. I guess I'll be the volleyball player. Alright. How about you, Cove? I'll have a volleyball team too. Lizzie threw her hands in the air, making an annoyed sound. You guys can't be the same thing. That's not how it works. You didn't say that. The rules are picking from the list. You can't keep adding more. Lizzie looked at the two of you, then shook her head, resigned to losing this battle, but not the war. Fine. You're both volleyball players, but you're not on the same team because there's only one. Lizzie's ponytail bobbed when she proudly stretched her arms wide. The Olympic team. What? We're Olympic athletes who just compete in the Olympics. Cove didn't seem at all impressed with the announcement. He made a face to adjust his glasses on his nose. That's really specific. That's what makes it fun. Anyway, Lizzie marched back and forth in front of you, getting lost in her own imagination. I won all the gold medals. And people are calling me the next Mickey Wright. Who's that? Lizzie stopped on the spot and turned on him, her brown eyes shining with impatience. It doesn't matter if you know who she is. It's a golf thing. You guys won medals too. Your team placed a silver. It's more real if we're not all first place. Silver sucks. I don't want silver. I'm okay with that. Hey, we can do better than silver. Silver's not bad. You stayed silent. You stayed silent. Loco looked at your hands. Next to you, Cove leaned towards Lizzie with a frown. Lots of people lose the Olympics. Them's the breaks. Then you're the one who did, not me. Lizzie looked taken aback by Cove's declaration, as though the thought of her losing was completely absurd. No way. It wouldn't make sense. I'm already practicing my golf game. She took a golfing stance to make her point, pretending to swing her club and hit an invisible ball. So what kind of house do you want to live in? Cove hadn't changed his mind about winning, but thinking about where he'd live as an adult appealed to him, apparently because he looked back at Lizzie with some sort of anger fading. I'm going to live on the beach. Lizzie made a face at him, poking out her tongue. That's kind of boring. We already have that. No, not like the normal houses we have on the street. On it. Right on the sand, by the water. Just like that, the tension was back. You hadn't even ever had a chance to choose where you want to live. That's not fun or smart, Cove. You can't live on the beach of the sand shells. But I want to, and I will. Cove narrowed his eyes at Lizzie, even though she stood half her head taller than him. You didn't give out a list of things to pick from this time, so I'm picking that. Why are you even playing pretend if we can't imagine anything? Geez, well, I'm gonna live in a mansion far away from here and far away from you. One with an indoor pool and a place to practice my award-winning golfing. How come you are yelling at mine and your idea is even more impossible? Lizzie's face flushed red, her hands balling into fists at her side. It is not impossible, and it's better than yours. Disagreement always seemed to crop up when these two were together, and you always felt like you were stuck in the middle. But when it came to the topic at hand, this time you thought you prefer the mansion. Being on the beach was cooler. You wanted to agree with Lizzie. Cove was right. You were tired of deciding between either of them. Who wouldn't want to live on a beach? It'd be really great. You could have windows made of driftwood and shisha with wind chimes. Ugh. He smiled slightly over the agreement, then turned towards Lizzie with bolstered confidence. You can swim wherever you want if you live on the beach. We can still swim anytime we want from when we live here. We can still swim anytime we want from where we live now. Being a little closer doesn't mean anything. Says you. The two of them scowled at each other. You're being so unreasonable. You. I don't get what you mean. The game doesn't make sense. It does. You have to be realistic. I said that. But you're not. You had no idea how to make them stop at this point. It seemed like the two of them would just keep working each other up as long as they could. Nothing you said so far would keep them from being mad. Thankfully, like a greeting card angel, Mom walked into the room. Lizzie rushed over to her, hanging onto the hem of her skirt and poking out her tongue at Cove. Lizzie, Wyan, it's time to get ready to go. Sorry you have to leave already, Cove. There, Mommy said she'll walk you home so you won't have to be left in the cold. Cove was still glaring at Lizzie, his face flushed red with anger. I can go by myself. But, bye, Wyan. There was still a harsh edge of brief farewell, but you knew it wasn't you he was mad at. Without giving Mom a chance to stop him, Cove stood up and stalked out the room, shoulders drawn tight. Okay? Worried Mom turned to look at you and Lizzie. You two were playing nice with our new friend, weren't you? You told the truth. They were fighting, Cove and Lizzie, for the whole time. Your sister's jaw dropped, looking betrayed as Mom put both her hands on her hips. Elizabeth, I told you to be kind to him. He's having a hard time right now. Lizzie's mouth closed back, replaced with a tiny frown. I know I tried, but he was... No buts. We both know you can show someone a great time when you put your mind to it. We're going to apologize to Cove and his dad over the phone when he gets home from work today. Lizzie hung her head, dragging her foot across the ground in front of her. Okay, Mom. Good girl. You caught pieces of Lizzie sulking herself about how it was his fault too, but it was over. All right, we better get a move on. Let's go, kids. Neolani? Is that how you say your name? Neolani, where did you leave the car keys? Mom hustled you over to the door and you noticed during the car ride golf practice that Lizzie was quieter than usual. She was usually the first to request which music to listen to in the car, and she didn't say a thing. Your parents noticed she wasn't in the mood to be bothered. They gave her space, and Mommy just asked you what you'd like to listen to. Pick your favorite song. It always made the car ride more fun. You chose the soundtrack to movie soundtrack. You chose a song that you knew Lizzie would like. Maybe that would cheer her up. We were happy to see it brighten her up right away, and she started singing along with you. Soon enough, her bad mood was a thing of the past. In the car ride over, you spent the twilight hour watching Lizzie hit things with other girls her age. You didn't know much about golf, but you could tell that she really liked it, so you sat with your moms and tried to puzzle it out. It was nice sitting outside after being cooped up in the house all day, and you stretched out your legs, letting out a few minutes of the sun warm on your skin. When the sun was finally out of sight, dripping down on the horizon, you all got ready to leave. Instead of going straight home, your mom took the family out to dinner. You went to a restaurant you had been going to ever since you can remember. The whole afternoon had been a bunch of shouting you hadn't been able to stop, but you could kind of tell that all this helped Lizzie be less angry. The car ride home was quiet, with only the radio providing escape from silence. Lizzie had been in a better spirits now, and the closer you got to your neighborhood, the more she wiggled in her seat and frowned out the window. She knew that was what was coming when you all got back home. Clearly, she was dreading it. Soon enough, Mom was turning onto your street and reversing into the driveway. When she cut into the ignition, it was dead silent. No one spoke. Only unbuckled the seatbelts and opened the doors. Lizzie was the last one out. Once everyone was inside and done taking off their shoes, she propped her hands on her hips. Now then, Mr. Holden's car is in the driveway, so he should be back from work. That's good news, isn't it, Elizabeth? You and Cove can hash things out before the day's end. Lizzie didn't complain or put up a fight. Her head ducked down so she didn't have to meet anyone's eyes, and she nodded once. Good. Let's move this to the kitchen. Mom went over to the house alone. The rest of you followed behind her. Mommy put a gentle hand on Lizzie's shoulder, and they walked side by side. You watched them from the back, the only thing happening because you chilled on Lizzie. You didn't regret it. You felt a little guilty, like you had betrayed your sister. You hadn't liked doing it, but you had to. But it was her fault doing it in the first place. Being a tattletale didn't feel good, and you wouldn't want someone else to tell your mom everything you did. Still, your mom had asked directly, and you wanted to be a liar even less. The four of you stood around the kitchen in a lopsided square. All eyes were on Lizzie, who kept her gaze on her feet. You remember the number for Cove's house, don't you, honey? Lizzie jerked her head in another nod, sullen. Without further prompting, she stepped forward and she began to dial. Mom reached over and pressed a button on the base. Suddenly, you could hear the phone ringing. She turned on the speaker. The phone rang a couple times, then stopped. Miss Holman's warm voice came to the other end. Evening, Colton residence. Lizzie looked over at Mommy, unsure. She nodded encouragingly. Hi, Mr. Holden. It's Lizzie. Can I talk to Cove? Lizzie Voidian? What a surprise, but of course you can say hey to the boy. He sounded cheery as usual, though definitely meant it would when he said it was a surprise. He thought hard, and you were sure that your sister had never called Cove's house before. Mom spoke up before Mr. Holden or Lizzie could say anything more. Her arms were crossed on her chest, her lips pierced. Hi, Cliff. Noelle, Ryan, and I are here too. Good evening. We're sorry to bother you so late. You said nothing to Cove's dad. You shifted from one foot to another, but remained where you were. The gang's all here, huh? Is something the matter? His voice grew a bit concerned. Mommy was quick to reassure him. No, well, yes, but it's going to be okay. Lizzie and Cove got into a bit of a fight today. We were hoping the two of them could talk and make up. Is it a good time for you and Cove? A fight? Cove didn't tell me anything about that when I came home. It does explain the funk he's been in tonight. He chuckled lightly. Despite that, it didn't seem like he really thought it was funny. Anyways, it's good you didn't catch us at bedtime. I'll grab him for you. There was some shuffling on the other hand, and he must not have gotten far because you could still hear him calling out, Cove, there's someone on the phone for you. After a beat of silence, there was more muffled talking from Cove's dad. Come on, bud. Lizzie called just so she could talk to you. Ryan on the other hand isn't listening too. Don't you want to say hi? It took a bit of back and forth, though the conversation seemed one-sided since you couldn't hear Cove properly. Eventually, Cove took the phone from his dad. Hello? Oh, hey, it's Lizzie. Yeah, I know, Dad told me. Cove's tone was defensive. Lizzie turned to Mom, scowling. One stern look from her, though, and Lizzie turned away. I just called to say I'm sorry for not playing nice with you today. I won't do it again. Lizzie's eyes downcast and her voice low. You could tell she felt uncomfortable apologizing to Cove in front of everyone. She was still being genuine about feeling bad. Cove must have realized that too, because he sighed quietly. I want gold, and I think Wyan should win too. Really? You thought you were worth gold even though you hadn't even wanted it? Lizzie was momentarily stunned, silent by the fucking shit, y'all, by the demand. She probably forgot that it even happened already. Alright, we all won the gold. Okay, I guess I'm sorry too. A sense of relief washed over everyone at his acceptance to apologize. Mom uncrossed her arms while Mommy's shoulders relaxed. Lizzie's eyebrows raised up. You wondered if she thought that he'd refuse her apology. Dad, can I get off the phone now? You couldn't see him, but it was obvious that Cove felt awkward about the situation. He had come off uncomfortable the entire time, really. Yeah, you can go back to your room if you want, but be sure to say goodbye first, though. Bye, Lizzie. Bye. Bye, Wyan. You perked up at the mention of your name. You smiled even if you couldn't see it. Bye, Cove. With that said, Cove must have handed the phone to his dad and left, since Mr. Holland spoke up. All's well that ends well, as they say. Thanks for arranging this. I'm sure he appreciates it. As Mom replied, Lizzie tugged on Mommy's hand to catch her attention. Can I go now, too? Sure, sweetie. Thank you very much for apologizing to Cove. Mom flashed a brief smile at Lizzie and nodded her agreement. Given permission to leave, Lizzie scurried off towards the stairs. She seemed to be feeling much better with the incident behind her. Mom and Mommy returned to the phone, taking it off speaker as they continued talking to Mr. Holden. You couldn't tell what about. You were glad that was the end of it all. Lizzie and Cole might not get along, and probably still won't. But they weren't mad at each other anymore. Mom and Mommy weren't upset either. Everyone was finally back to normal. With that said, you were treated to your own room with a spring in your step. Alright guys, I think I'll end the episode there. I will see you later. I love you guys so much. Bye-bye.